Before I start the video, I'd like to give a disclaimer that I will be going through points throughout The Last of Us Part 2 that may contain spoilers. If you haven't gotten the chance to complete the game, I must warn you this is a spoiler warning. Also, I'd like to point out that all of the gameplay, trailers, and official music that are in this video are completely owned by the creators in the description. All the links to the original videos and music will be down below. I'd also like to let you guys know that this review will be split up into 4 topics: background info, review, how it should have gone down, and rating. Feel free to skip through any part of the video that you would like to start off first. Now, without further ado, enjoy the video, guys. On June 14, 2013, Naughty Dog Games, known for publishing multiple video games that were considered masterpieces in storytelling, released a new horror story video game called The Last of Us. A new unique view of a zombie apocalypse game with not much action but mainly emotional connection from character to character, character to player. Joel, the main protagonist in The Last of Us, went through an uphill journey to deliver a hard-headed but brave 14-year-old girl. That girl was named Ellie. But the game, starting off with Joel losing his beloved daughter in a heartbreaking manner, continues with the now broken Joel who wanted to have nothing to do with Ellie. Eventually turns into a once father, protecting a girl from dangers in their path as if Ellie was his own blood. The more you play through The Last of Us, the more the relationship grew through their heartbreaks, showing emotions, and a slowly but surely growing bond between two absolute strangers, turned into a family, father and daughter. The game later that year being given 8 separate awards for Best Game of the Year. Actors Troy Baker, Joel, which was personally my favorite character throughout the game, and Ashley Johnson, Ellie, both earning awards for Best Performance in 2013 at the year's VGX Awards. With so much love for the game, only came one question: when will the sequel arrive to the fans of this masterpiece of a game? Our questions was answered at the PlayStation Experience event in December of 2016. The trailer revealed a much older Ellie in her young adulthood and a much older Joel. The excitement for the sequel was unbelievable, with the teaser only revealing a glimpse of what's to come for Sony's next-gen console, the PS4. Everyone waited for 2 years until an official Last of Us Part 2 gameplay reveal came out, showing new characters including Dina and Jess. Then, on May 6, 2020, another 2 years later, an official story trailer released, giving us more to see what could happen in the upcoming sequel, releasing later that year on June 19, 2020. At this point, the game's release date had been pushed back from May 29th, the original release date, to June 19th due to a pandemic going on in the world. The wait was okay for some, but others just wanted to get their hands on the game. Around this time, leaks had been released to the public about the premise of the game, and fans weren't particularly happy about what they had read. I tried my best to stay away from all the negativity of the game and spoilers beforehand because I truly just wanted to play the game spoiler free. I tended on being optimistic with games and movies that come out with some controversy and tend to see the good side of things. But if I had to be completely honest, The Last of Us Part 2, with amazing gameplay and visuals, struggled to convince with the story and character development throughout. Playing the first half of the game was the most enjoyable experience I had as Ellie in a quest to find Abby, the main protagonist of the game. New additions to the game, such as dogs, new dangerous and menacing variations to the game's version of zombies, the infected, also known as clickers, runners, shamblers, bloaters, and much more difficult, bigger, and badder version of the bloater, combined with a clicker revealed to us near the final act of the game's conclusion. All the obstacles made the game not have as much downtime but more action than the first installment. Unfortunately, after the first half, the story transitions over to the point of view of, spoiler alert, if you haven't played the game, the antagonists have brutally killed off the most beloved and fan favorite character of the Last of Us series, Joel. and seeing her perspective from a child finding out the true reason why she killed Joel, which was because her father was one of the doctors that was going to operate on Ellie in the first game that Joel ended up killing. At first glimpse, you would never think of a character like the nurse from the first game having to do with the inevitable conflict between these two in the future, which I enjoyed because it gave me more of a reason to like the game and lets me know the true plot of the game. The second half consists of Abby's journey from after the incident with Joel all the way till present time. I felt as if there was more playtime with Abby than Ellie. We don't get to play with Abby until the final few chapters of the game, which were fairly short and quickly paced. While playing as Abby, I lost just, interest for the game and found it very difficult to continue with the story. It made me feel as the game was attempting to make me feel sympathy for Abby's characters, but I didn't want to. All the way from killing Joel to the point on, I wanted to see the character suffer and wanted to play as Abby to get that satisfying and avenging ending that I'm sure a lot of people wanted. I wasn't mad with how the story ended, but more than less disappointed that we didn't get to see justice for Joel's unexpected and unnecessary death in the first act of the sequel. I think that Naughty Dog and the authors of the game could have done a better job with the game and not include Abby at all if they really wanted her to be a main protagonist in The Last of Us Part 2. With Abby not being included in the sequel, a potential different game separate from the main story to The Last of Us could have been an option and would have kept the series going after the main story wraps up with the sequel. I wasn't upset with the choice of the passing away of Joel, although I would have much rather preferred another journey of Joel and Ellie, but with being able to switch between both characters throughout missions and encounters in the game. The Last of Us should have included more of Ellie and possibly Dina throughout the game. I would have been okay with the Abby scene from when she was little and entered the surgery room and we saw the reason why she did what she did, but not a full-fledged second half backstory to her character. At the end of the day, I don't necessarily hate the game. Like I said before in the video, I actually found it enjoyable in some parts of the game, but also found it very difficult to finish off the game, especially if I had known that there wasn't a true happy ending for Ellie. Instead of getting that, Ellie got what she feared most and is being left alone and losing everything she loves. As someone who binged this game the day of its release, the story kept getting more emotional and sadder. The game constantly breaks you down as a human being and really plays with your emotions. From the beginning to the end, there was so little happy, if any, moments. Between a score of 1 being terrible and 10 being best game of the year, I'd have to give the game 6.5 out of 10. Believe it or not, I'm very disappointed that I have to give the game a rating lower than an 8. In general, I was just expecting more of this sequel than what we really got. I know it won't happen, but this isn't a game that I can be happy with. I really hope the developers look over this game and see the flaws and eventually in the future for the PS5 release, a repolished version of The Last of Us Part 2 with a better story and ending. It probably won't happen, but one can only dream. This game was actually very enjoyable. I did find some parts nice to play as, but the story just didn't satisfy me. But at the end of the day, it is just a video game, so I can't necessarily get too mad at what the developers had in the end for the project, because it is their game, it is their idea, so you just kind of have to deal with it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video. More videos on The Last of Us Part 2 coming out soon. I will be starting my Last of Us gameplay soon enough. Until the next one, peace.